Week 5 of the fantasy baseball season. Here's a few hitters I look to sell and trade this week. The first hitter, Liam Hicks of the Miami Marlins. Liam Hicks, he's off to a great start this season and a surprise, someone who wasn't on the fantasy radar at all. And he's driving in a lot of runs to begin the season, and a batting average over 300 on the year, 4 home runs, 21 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a stolen base, a 338 average, 384 on base percentage. He's going out there, Liam Hicks, catcher, first base he qualifies at, and he's a big piece so far this season for this Miami Marlins team, batting 4th to 5th. Usually April 17th versus the Brewers 1 for 5. April 18th versus the Brewers 2 for 4 a run. April 19th versus the Brewers 2 for 3 a run RBI. And in tonight's game versus the Cardinals in the win for the Marlins 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. He's hitting the baseball very well, no doubt about it, is Liam Hicks. But like I said, he's not really a player with a track record throughout his career. I know last season he had a decent amount of at-bats, 332 on the year, 6 homers, 45 RBIs. With a 247 average, and he's almost passed already in his home runs from last season to this year. The batting average is way up, and also about halfway there to the RBI total from last season. So right now, while he's playing good baseball, is Liam Hicks, and he's a catcher where obviously he has more value as well, where catch is one of the weaker positions in all fantasy baseball. Definitely a player I would put on the trade block and see what I could get for him in a deal in the early going, where he's off to a good start. Next player, Brandon Nimmo of the Texas Rangers. Brandon Nimmo back in the leadoff spot, where the last couple of years he was batting down in the order a little bit, 4th or 5th for the New York Mets, where Lindor was the leadoff hitter. But now with his new team in Texas this year, back leading off, and he's off to a great start. 4 homers, 11 RBIs, a stolen base, 13 runs scored, 311 batting average, 386 on base percentage. His on base numbers are way up. He's turned more into a power hitter with the New York Mets over the last few seasons, but now he's getting back to those leadoff tendencies a little bit. But in my opinion, I don't think Nimmo's a 300 hitter, and also he's a guy over the last couple seasons. His strikeout rate has gone up as well. April 15th at the A's 0 for 3 a run. April 16th at the A's 1 for 4 an RBI. April 17th at the Mariners 1 for 4 a homer and RBI. April 18th at the Mariners 1 for 6. And April 19th at the Mariners 2 for 4. So obviously he's playing great baseball as Brandon Nimmo, even though it's early in the year. And last week his batting average was about 350, so he's already dropped 40 points. And obviously early in the season the batting average fluctuates and could drop quick with a couple bad games. And obviously he had a 1 for 6 game in April 18th. So right now Brandon Nimmo, in my opinion, is playing over his head. I think the power numbers will be there though at the end of the season, but that batting average on base for me are going to go way down, and there's going to be months where he don't do much, is Brandon Nimmo, and we've seen it over the last couple seasons where he gets his numbers in bunches, where he can have one big month and then a month he don't do nothing. So he's definitely a streak hitter, and I don't think, as he's in the latter part of his career, even though he's back in the leadoff spot with this Texas Ranger team, he's going to keep it up at this pace. So definitely a hitter I would sell this week. The next hitter, Ryan O'Hearn of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ryan O'Hearn, he's off to a great start with his new team. And this Pirate team, they actually went out there this offseason and spent money. And so far, it's paying dividends with some of the moves they made. Again, bringing in Ryan O'Hearn, trading for Brandon Lowe, showing nice power in the early going with 7 home runs. And O'Hearn on the year, 4 home runs, 15 RBIs, a stolen base, 11 runs scored, a 329 average on the season, and a 417 on base. So he's getting on base a lot. He was an all-star with the San Diego Padres, and he was a good signing, no doubt about it, for this Pirate team. But right now, he's another player playing over his head a little bit, is Ryan O'Hearn in the early going, especially with an on-base percentage over 400. So the last few games for O'Hearn, April 15th versus the Nats, 3 for 4, a run, a stolen base. April 16th, he sat that one out versus the Nats. April 17th versus the Rays, 0 for 4. And April 18th versus Tampa, 2 for 3. Homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored in that one. So he's batting 4th in this lineup, is Ryan O'Hearn for this Pittsburgh Pirate team. He's been a big addition, no doubt about it. But I just think right now he's playing over his head, is Ryan O'Hearn. And I'm not saying dump him for anything, but like I said, I don't think he's a guy that we're going to see this season where he hits 25, 30 home runs. Obviously, he has a batting average over 300 and an on-base of 370 or better. So right now, well, he's putting up big numbers as Ryan O'Hearn. And if you're in need for pitching, I think there's a good deal out there for fantasy owners. Next play is his teammate O'Neal Cruz of the Pittsburgh Pirates. So O'Neal Cruz, he's a full-time outfielder now, where obviously he was a shortstop to begin his career the first few seasons with the Pirates. And so far, he's off to a great start. 6 home runs, 19 RBIs, 9 stolen bases, 16 runs scored, a 292 average, and a 364 on base percentage. But O'Neill Cruz, we know he's a free swinger, and that part of his game obviously hasn't gone anywhere. Already 32 strikeouts in 89 at-bats for O'Neill Cruz, and last season he was a 200 hitter, and he didn't even reach on a 300 on base. So right now, inflated stats early in the year, batting average and on base percentage, and also the power numbers. I think they could be decent, where he did hit 20 last year, and they have better offense this season, bringing in Ozuna, Brandon Lau, like I said, and Ryan O'Hearn in this offseason was his Pittsburgh Pirate team. But I just think O'Neill Cruz, like I said, free swinging still. K numbers are still way up there for him, and I don't think it's sustainable with a lot of whiff rate for O'Neill Cruz to keep these numbers up. The last few games, April 16th versus the Nats, 2 for 5 of run and RBI, 2 stolen bases. April 17th versus the Rays, 1 for 4, homer, 2 RBIs. April 18th versus the Rays, 1 for 6. And April 19th versus the Rays, 0 for 3, and he struck out 3 times in that ball game. So like I said, I don't think he's going to keep up this pace. Right now is O'Neill Cruz. His whiff rate is still there, and he struck out now 6 times in the last 3 games. So teams are starting to go more off speed on Cruz, where he was getting a lot of fastballs early in the season. So he's definitely a hitter I would sell this week. Final hitter I'd look to sell and trade this week's Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals. I know Walker, he's having a big year so far to begin the season. 8 homers, 16 RBIs, 17 runs scored, 3 stolen bases, a 305 average, 367 on base percentage, and he's already surpassed his home run total from last season, where he had 6, and so far 8 for Jordan Walker. But I think Jordan Walker, he's obviously made some adjustments in the offseason, but now over the last couple of weeks, the numbers have definitely gone down for Jordan Walker, where he's only got a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 4 runs scored, a 259 average, and 310 on base percentage. So the last couple of years, Walker really hasn't lived up to the hype where he was the number 1 prospect in all Major League Baseball a few seasons ago. But last year only hit 215 with 6 homers, 41 RBIs. And this Cardinal team, we know they're a very young team, and I think teams are going to start pitching around Jordan Walker a little bit, or at least not pitch him the fastball and a lot of off-speed stuff. And now the last 4 games for Walker, he struck out 8 times in those ball games. April 17th, they used him 1 for 4, a run and RBI. April 18th, they used him 1 for 4, a stolen base. April 19th, the Astros 1 for 5 with a run. And April 20th, in tonight's ball game at the Marlins, he went 1 for 3 with 2 runs and a stolen base. He's still getting on base over the last couple games here with Walker, at least with a hit or drawing a walk. But like I said, that batting average has gone down quickly over the last couple weeks, and the power numbers have gone down as well. His last home run was already a week ago, April 13th versus Cleveland, and he had a stretch where he hit 5 home runs in 6 games that really got him on the map. So like I said, he was on a hot streak in the earlier part of the month, is Jordan Walker, but now he's fizzled out a little bit. And like I said, last season and prior seasons, his numbers just weren't up to par. And right now, I think he's playing over his head, and also in a young lineup with the St. Louis Cardinals. There's no reason for pitchers to give him that much to hit, especially trying to challenge him with the fastball, where he has problems with the off-speed stuff. So with those factors, and walk off to a good start so far this season, I think he's a player that's going to come back down to earth a little bit, especially batting average-wise, even though I think power could be decent for him. I just would sell him off this week where he's at peak value. So that's a few hitters I look to sell and trade for week 5 of the fantasy baseball season.